The Full Moon Phase in Finding Your Way Through the Dark by Demetra George. The full moon phase, the moon is 180 to 135 degrees behind the sun. Keywords are culminate, illuminate, and fulfill. At the full moon phase, the moon has drawn as far away from the sun as she can within their cycle together. At the opposition point, she shines in all of her fullness. This completes the first half of the lunation cycle, which began at the new moon with a vision that was subjectively felt in response to a need. In the preceding phases, the evolving soul, guided by the instincts, built and perfected forms through which to express this vision. Now that the form-building process has been accomplished, in the second part of the cycle, as the moon gradually moves back towards the sun, it is necessary for the evolving soul to progress from its instinctual body-oriented awareness into an awakened mental state. The next stage of the process is to develop the growth of one's consciousness and the ability to think before acting. At this point, evolving full moon people must learn how to use their minds in order to be able to realize the meaning of their lives. They need to become conscious of the purpose for which the forms that have been built have been intended, and then to infuse this meaning into their life structures. This is similar to the process of a carpenter building a house, which corresponds to the form. However, it is not until a family moves into the house and transforms it into a home that the meaning of the structure has been fulfilled. The discovery of what it means to live purposefully with conscious intention is the crux of the full moon phase functioning. Because the sun and the moon are two main keys of personality, full moon people who are born when the moon is directly opposite the sun can, in the brilliance of the reflected light, clearly see and experience polarity between self and other. This is why issues of relationship are so important to full moon people. Mirroring the stance of the sun and the moon at this point in the cyclical process, these people are called to integrate the polarities that exist within themselves. Now, full moon people realize that this is the inner process, and they may project their inner tensions outward onto relationships. However, in either case, it is through the resolution of the inherent conflict with the other that the full moon people develop objectively clear-sightedness about the larger meaning of the life purpose. The meaning of the opposite aspect speaks to two parts of the personality that are diametrically opposed, yet intimately related. When they function in unconscious ways, a person will experience them in inner conflict, two parts of oneself pulling in opposite directions. And ultimately, each of the prevented by the other was getting its needs fully met by operating optimal capacity. The challenge of the planetary oppositions, but especially for the full moon types, whose sun and moon are the protagonists, it is for now each side to become aware of their existence, their nature, their potential of importance of their life together. Through an understanding of the deeper issues around struggle, the process is to integrate the polarities by realizing, i.e. clearly seeing, some kind of larger structure in which the two can function meaningfully and consciously. Rudar says that successful polarization actualizes a person's latent capacity to bring objective manifestation, a creative fulfillment of what is implied by two opposing functions. End quote. The birth of objective consciousness in the recognition of the others as separate from oneself. The movement of the evolution of consciousness is towards the opening to accepting, validating, and including all differences within the larger whole. As this process operates within the full moon personality, the sun represents one sole purpose, and the moon signifies one personality as the form or vehicle of that purpose. At the full moon, the sun is waiting for the moon to recognize him or her as being the essence of purpose. Then the moon is waiting for the sun to recognize her as the meaning through which the purpose can be expressed and achieved. When the sun and the moon can begin to operate together, integrating into a meaningful synthesis what has previously been separate, enter into a conscious awareness of the new life purpose. Whatever has been developed into this point of the cycle, for better or for worse, is now fully seen in the light of the full moon. If the organic form is not as adequate to contain the purpose, or if the purpose is not worthy of form, full moon people can disintegrate and feel a deep-seated failure. They feel as if they are hollow, empty shells, or that there's no meaning in their lives. For full moon people, the inner drama between their sun. Moon polarity also manifests in their outer relationships. In this plant cycle, the flower opens to the full moon phase. When women's blood cycles are synchronized to lunar rhythms, they will ovulate and likewise open sexually at this time. Inherent in the phase of this cyclical process is the urge towards the union of merging with the other in order to ensure fertilization and conception of the next seed and the continuation of the life force. Many full moon individuals conceptualize this for meaningful union in the search for the ideal partner. As the process operates within the full moon personality, the sun represents one soul's purpose and the moon signifies one personality's, as the form or vehicle as the purpose. At the full moon, the sun is waiting for the moon to recognize him as being the essence of that purpose. The moon is waiting for the sun to recognize her as the meaning through which the purpose can be expressed and achieved. When the sun and the moon can begin to operate together, integrating into the meaningful synthesis what has previously been separate, full moon people can enter into a conscious awareness of their life purpose. Whatever has been developed up until this point of the cycle, for better or for worse, is now fully seen into the light of the full moon. If the organic form is not adequate or contain the purpose, or if the purpose is not worthy of the form, full moon people will disintegrate and feel a deep-seated failure. They feel as if they are hollow, empty shells, or that there's no meaning in their lives. For full moon people, the inner drama between their sun, moon polarity, also manifests into their outer relationships. In the plant cycle, the flower opens at the full moon phase. When folks who menstruate, their blood cycles are synchronized into the lunar rhythms, they will ovulate and likewise open sexually at this time. Inherent in the phase of the cyclical process is the urge towards the union and merging with the other in order to ensure fertilization and conception of the next seed and the continuation of the life force. Many full moon individuals conceptualize the search for the meaningful union in the search of the ideal partner. We have heard of the lament, if, quote unquote, if only I was with the perfect mate, then my life would be meaning and purposeful. The search for the meaning can become in search for the great love, the perfect partner, the soulmate who is expected to make life worth living. Some full moon people's lives are often made or broken on the basis of how meaningful their relationships are. And ideal relationships are difficult to find and sustain, and these individuals may turn to a cause, belief system, great idea, or guru, god, goddess to provide the transcendent, meaningful content in which to fill their life structures. In the process of becoming conscious, the level of how well full moon people are integrated into the inner polarities will be reflected into the quality of interaction in the outer relationships. Many full moon people cannot help but be drawn into relationships, but in order for their relationships to be meaningful, they must develop objectively and clarity regarding how they relate to the other. As they clearly and fully see into the actions that they affect others, they must practice thinking before acting to make sure that their actions are considerate and meaningful. Once full moon people have integrated their inner polarities, discovered their purpose, and consciously infused it into their life structures, can they then proceed to dynamically live out the meaning of their life within the larger context.